For Media Watch, and James Creedon is here with me in the studio. James, we start at the French commemorations of the Southern landings. That was 70 years ago.
That's right, and indeed the Defence Ministry, Aurora, has been commemorating this all day long by live tweeting the events as they happened on this day 70 years ago on the Mediterranean beaches of the south of France, when Allied troops, including French troops from French colonies in Africa, joined the effort to liberate France. Now, I'll show you on the computer. We're having a couple of little difficulties, but I think I should be able to show you the pages in question, because the Defence Ministry, since D-Day, Aurora, and before, has been making a big effort on its web pages, on its website, to bring those events back to life through documentary footage, through images of that period, but also through much more modern techniques such as live tweeting. And what you can see here is an attempt to I suppose bring those events back to life. You can see with this tweet here that there's one or two of the individuals who actually landed in the south of France 70 years ago are giving their account of what happened. So you can go on the Defence Ministry's website if you want to relive those moments on Twitter.
Striking pictures there.
Indeed. And François Hollande as well, of course, speaking in the south of France, in breaking his holidays to mark the ceremony 10 weeks after D-Day. Indeed, it was D-Day and these Provence landings that formed a sort of a pincer which pinched the Nazi troops and indeed liberated France. And that is the page I was trying to show you earlier with those D-Day tweets, live tweets. Also, François Hollande had lunch with the Prime Minister. So it wasn't just a day for ceremony, it was also a day to prepare what in French politics they call la rentrée politique, which is when in September, the beginning of the political year essentially. So François Hollande very much trying to underline or underscore the fact that he hasn't forgotten the problems in internal policy.
All right, and next let's go to a Franco-Israeli hacker who's targeted several French media for their coverage of the Israel-Palestine conflict.
That's right. This is a pretty extraordinary story. His name is Olkan. He's a Franco-Israeli, but living in Israel. So the French authorities are having a lot of difficulty getting to grips with this because he's not in France. What he's been doing, Aurora, is he's been targeting several publications such as Libération and also Rue 89. Rue 89 did a profile of him in the last week or so, which clearly didn't please Olkan. So he has also been hacking various websites that do profiles of him that don't please him, or that deal with the Israeli-Palestinian conflict in a way that does not please him. But most disturbingly, he actually started to harass one of the journalists responsible for the article in Rue 89. He contacted his elderly parents, convincing them that their son had died. Then, on a second occasion, the police broke into his parents' home at 4 a.m, believing that a murder had taken place. And the father of this journalist, Benoît Lecor, being the journalist for Rue 89, had a heart attack 4 days later. So the consequences have actually been pretty serious. It is quite a serious degree of harassment, and more than 2 or 3 media having basically had to deal with this. So certainly it's a difficult one when the authorities can't deal with it because he's not on site, he's not in France.
Absolutely. And finally, you've got an unflattering photo of a famous footballer that's making the buzz on the internet.
That's right. Cristiano Ronaldo, he was posing for this photo, right, with Real Madrid, and as you can see, if you scroll down through it, he's actually on his tiptoes in the back of that photo. I think further down on this article in The Independent, they have it circled.
Oh, yeah.
Now, the thing is, he's standing next to Karim Benzema. They're probably around the same height, and they're both pretty tall men. They're over.
Is he trying to appear taller?
I think he appears to be trying to appear taller, if you can say it in that way. You can see there that it's circled. The thing is, he's over 1.80 meter anyway. He's well over 6 feet tall, so I'm not sure he really needs to be lying about his height in that way. Some people perhaps uncharitably reminding that Nicolas Sarkozy used to do the same thing, but Nicolas Sarkozy isn't as tall as Cristiano Ronaldo, so maybe you could say that, in a statesman-like context, it's a bit more justified to perhaps try to appear a little bit taller. But when Karim Benzema and himself are both considerably quite tall men, it's perhaps a little bit unnecessary. So some people saying that he should pay more attention to his football and less to his
height,
image and his narcissism.
All right, thank you very much for that, James.
Thanks,
and it's time for a look at the latest business news with our very own Kate Moody, starting with